Hello everyone, my name is Awat, and today I will be showcasing Awat Nomad. I did make a similar video to this as part of my development diaries, but that was more focused on the troubles of developing the map itself rather than its features. So in today's video, I will be showcasing Awat Nomad and its basic mechanics for you all to learn as part of the upcoming Awat Nomad update, which is planned to come out on February 12th, 2 days after Demeter's release. To begin, when you load into the map, you will spawn in with 2 villagers, with the exceptions being if you're playing Norse or Atlantean. The Norse gets 1 Berserk and 1 Villager or Dwarf, depending if you're playing Thor or not. The Atlanteans receive 1 Villager only because 1 of their villagers is worth 2 normal villagers. Once you finish building your town center, all your normal starting units will pop out. This will include the Regent if you plan on playing Regicide on this map. I know that Regicide is a very popular mode to play on Nomad, so I made sure it's compatible with this Nomad since the current vanilla Nomad does not work with Regicide anymore. Additionally, I also made sure that King of the Hill would work on this Nomad as well, since that game mode also no longer works on normal Nomad. However, sudden death is still disabled in this mode, since sudden death fundamentally undermines the whole premise of Nomad. If you have sudden death selected and attempt to load in, it will just simply load in a normal match. There's a good chance it will take me a week or two to update this map once the Aztec DLC comes out. As a failsafe, if you attempt to play the Aztec Pantheon before I have updated this map to support it, you will be giving 1 Atlantean villager, who will then be able to build a town center, and then from there you can play the Aztec Pantheon on this map. However, I fully intend to update this map within a week or 2 of the Aztec DLC coming out, so that you'll spawn with Aztec villagers instead of the Atlantean one. That is just a failsafe while you wait for me to update it. Awat Nomad currently features 8 biomes that you can find on the map, all of which spawn simultaneously, and each biome then has a chance to vary between matches. So for example, on some matches you'll notice that the grass is greener, or the snow is fully snow or grassy snow. On top of that, I've also made it so the forests randomize a little bit. Most biomes support at least 2 forest types, with grass in particular supporting 4 forest types. You may even notice that the water and beach varies from match to match. Sometimes you get a sandy beach and sometimes you'll get a dirt beach, with the water changing color each time you play. Additionally, the center island specific may change from a circle to a square, and sometimes it may have cliffs, and sometimes it may not have cliffs, just to add variety to gameplay. I am very pleased since I had been looking for a way to have a map with multiple biomes, and that was made possible largely by the fact that this map is mostly random, unlike normal maps which require some form of symmetry to be maintained. While it's not deliberately to be unfair, due to its random nature, you may notice that an opponent might start with extra resource or 2. Like I said, this is just due to the random nature, and the lack of any symmetrical constraints that a normal map would have, but the lack of that constraint should make this map feel more unique each time you play it. A blessing and a burden of the map having so many biomes is that you will notice it takes significantly longer to load than a normal map. This is because it has to account for all the things that a normal map does not have to do, such as making sure an asset of one biome doesn't spawn in the other 7, and the true is the other way around for that asset. So it has a lot of things it needs to consider, and therefore it might take a while to load. This issue only relates to how long you have to wait for the map to load, and not the performance of the map itself. Once the map has finished loading, it should run just fine performance-wise, just like any other map you would have. Just like all other maps on Awat's otherworldly maps, you will be able to host this for your friends, even friends who do not have the mod, as this mod is completely vanilla plus and online compatible. I say friends, but you want to host this online for strangers too, that works just fine as well. Just know that the only thing that doesn't carry over to them will be the map select and loading screen images. The map select and loading screen images will stay black until they downloaded my mod, but otherwise the map itself and its descriptions to still work properly for other people. So just like Awat Unknown, I expect this map to be shared beyond the mod pack itself. But if you're sharing it online, please do consider telling people where you got the map from, so that they'll be able to experience all the other joys that comes with my mod. If there's popular demand, once the Aztec DLC comes out, I will increase the biome count from 8 to 10. However, I have to warn that increasing the biome count will only make the loading screen times longer, as it just doesn't have to account for the 2 new ones, it also has to account to prevent the 2 new ones from clashing with the old ones. But like I said, this matter will be up to the public, so submit feedback in either the link in the description below or in the comments of my YouTube videos. Those locations will also be great places to submit any feedback or any bugs you discover on these maps. Please do not post on any other place I did not mention, because it is unlikely I will see it. But in terms of feedback, feel free to discuss things such as the food and gold content. On this map in specific, there is a lot of food and gold to lower the chance of unfairness due to the random spawning, because if everyone has golden food, then you should all be fine, right? Was my thinking. Also, fundamentally, all biomes have a unique food pool they draw from, so that just results in a lot more food happening naturally anyway. But it is within my grasp to adjust these accordingly. You may notice some gold locations have 4 small gold mines instead of 1 big one, but if you count the quantities, you'll realize that this results in the same amount of gold. The reason why I implemented these little small gold veins was to A, liven up how the map looks, and B, have a way for you to mine gold faster, since having a 1 singular gold mine limits the amount of villagers you can have on gold. On top of this, you will notice sometimes town centers will spawn with 2 medium gold chunks next to them. This also results in the same amount of gold, since these medium gold chunks have 3,000 gold each and a large gold has 6,000 gold. And those quote-unquote small gold veins have 1,500 each with 4 of them for a total of 6,000 as well. When town centers spawn like this, they actually lower the amount of these gold veins that spawn on the map overall. What does this mean? Basically, it just evens out the amount of gold so that there will be the same amount of gold in each match. These golds that spawn at town center sometimes are not quote-unquote extra, but actually cancel out existing golds. If you're lost, don't worry because really none of this matters and there's the same amount of gold either way on the map is what I'm trying to say. This is just a small Easter egg I added. You'll also notice decorations throughout the map. Some islands share decorations such as the desert, the snow, and the underworld sharing the dead bushes, and other plants only being found on certain islands. As a fun little challenge, see you can catalog what decorations only spawn on what islands. On top of that, you'll notice that there are decorations underneath each forest type when you dig them. Have fun noticing what decorations spawn there too. These little Easter eggs are meant to liven up the map even more. Since due to all the biomes, I was pretty limited on what I could do with each biome type, as there is a 48 terrain limit in Age of Mythology maps, and I think at the time of recording I was approaching 35, and if I want to add 2 more biomes as I mentioned previously, I would have to leave at least room for 8 or so. So 35 plus 8 equals 43 out of 48 terrain limits used, and it's probably a good idea not to push it anymore. But yeah, with the food and gold being abundant, I can't say this was particularly planned to be the most competitive map, but more of a fun one, because the maps in my mod are more of a mixed bag, honestly. There's some gimmick ones that you'll probably throw away after 1 or 2 plays. There are some that are probably enjoyable in 1v1, add a new dynamic, but for the most part, they're meant to be enjoyed with friends and comp stomp or something. That being said, versus AI on this map works, but there are quirks to it, such as the AI not finding a town center very quickly, Norse AI on rare occasions not building a town center, and worst of all, on Regicide, the AI uses the Regent as a weapon, which gets them killed very quickly. Unfortunately, though, this is fundamentally an Age of Mythology problem to figure out with its AI. Since this is a map mod meant to be played online, it has no domain over how the AI acts. If I had to guess, the weird regicide problem was probably the reason why they removed it from the real no map. But yeah, that's that. So you're playing AI on this map, try to play standard. Another benefit of this map is that color does not decide where you spawn. In normal Age of Mythology, where you are in your team is based on what color you are from ascending color from the color list. On this map, the color does not affect where you are within your team. So you could absolutely be on the edge despite being red and having a blue and yellow teammate. Once this map is out after Demeter's release, which is once again expected to be February 10th and therefore the update is expected to be February 12th, you may see me host this map online, so consider joining and saying hi, kindly of course. I may do 12-player Regicide, even though I'm not the best at playing PvP, or I might host Comp Stomp. But either way, I look forward to having fun with it with tons of people, and maybe some other people can host it even though I'm not the one hosting it. But that is all I have for this showcase. Once this video is done, it will be added to the AWOT Nomad update playlist that will have most of the juicy information you need to know about what's changed since the last update. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.